Chapter 2: Loving Wisdom from Animal Communicators. Many animal communicators have embraced the compassionate vegan diet. Many have also embraced the vegetarian diet. Let's learn a little about the reasons given for adopting such a compassionate lifestyle and how they feel this is beneficial. The first excerpt comes from an email that an animal communicator shared with me. She explained that she wrote it after reading a book she felt didn't align with her own life experiences and spiritual knowledge. Hence, she sent this email to the book author. It begins to raise the concept of predatory versus peaceful. Quote, "You mentioned that you eat meat to feel the animal's energy, but I don't understand this concept. The other day I was admiring a beautiful white and tan butterfly when I felt my heart open up and felt tears starting to spring forward. I felt such immense blessing and heart expansion that I had an energy exchange just by admiring the butterfly. As we are all energy and take part in energy exchanges, I don't feel that we need to eat animals to feel their energy. I think it is more likely that people are using these animal products to sustain their lower vibrations or to take a denser food into their system so that the energy of the body focuses on digestion and gives them temporary relief from stress and anxiety as the body diverts its attention to the burden of heavy food. Focusing on predatory relationships is describing a shadow of the time that is passing, and not focusing on the light or the beauty that is emerging. Predatory relationships, by their very nature, bring about harsh feelings such as fear, anger, and greed. For example, some birds took over a bird's nest in my backyard. Another bird broke into their nest one day and killed their unhatched babies. The mother and father returned and were so angry and attacked the bird with such vengeance and anger. Animals feel fear of not being able to care for or protect their young, in addition to so much more. And I feel that this is what the predatory relationship imbues in humans: their harshness, their feeling of fear, anger, jealousy, unworthiness, rivalry, competition. I deeply feel that humans have devolved in their eating of meat and have noticed that various religious texts and spiritual teachers have mentioned that we are, by our very divine nature, herbivores. Psionic researcher Panayandov also talks about how eating animal DNA corrupts our own DNA. I think this is true on many levels. I have also read books about beings from other planets who also abhor meat eating and would not consider this at all. Not only that, animal products cause so many health problems, and the majority of animal products consumed are raised in cruel and unnatural conditions, which, energetically, leaves an imprint and discomfort in the person who consumes it, or fuels those harsher, base emotions, such as anger, discontent, greed, etc. I feel that if we keep eating animals, we keep the predatory vibration on Earth. Earth can't keep sustaining this for much longer. With each whale that we kill, a majestic being leaves the Earth and takes with it his or her protective vibration of love, love, love. And the same is true for cows that are killed, dolphins killed in fishing nets, cows and rabbits killed for meat, etc. We humans are predatory on so many levels. The rich want to stay rich and are too power greedy and attached to material things to share with the poorer people of the earth. We feed so much food to livestock animals that we could be feeding to humans all over the world to keep them healthy and nourished. We are predatory in killing people who aim to make our society better, such as those who have invented free energy solutions and cures for cancer. People have tried to claim that growing meat organically is environmentally friendly, but on many levels, it is actually worse for our environment and still so unsustainable. I would like to learn more about how the uplifting, loving vibrations are replacing the predatory ones, and how abstaining from animal products plays a major role in this. I have experienced disappointment at some loved ones because they eat animal products, but will not look at the suffering behind it. I've felt disappointment at those same loved ones because of their fear of not fitting into society due to eating different meals. This fear seems to hold them back. This brings us back to the predatory vibration. The person who doesn't eat the same food in the society of others can feel fear at being shunned or not invited or accepted into various social situations. But essentially, my experience of being vegan has deepened my relationship with animals, with nature, with myself, with my spirituality, and increased the loving quality that I am able to share with other people. I feel that it has evoked more empathy and sympathy. I feel that our earth cries at all the animal suffering that is taking place, and that one of the simple methods for harvesting more love and increasing our own health, vitality, and positivity is to adopt a plant-based diet and move away from killing and the predatory nature that keeps the suffering, poverty, and grief so entrenched in people's everyday lives." End quote. The sentiments are expressed beautifully here. How many times have we felt the beauty of animals, trees, and nature when we admire them? It's interesting to consider the predatory relationship from a karmic perspective. What we do to others comes back to us. These days, many people speak of manifestation and emphasize what they want to manifest. But there is an unawareness of the not-so-positive things that we are also manifesting through actions such as meat eating. Even in the Wiccan tradition, it stated, quote, "I command thee thus, O children of the earth, that which ye deem harmful unto thyself, the very same shall ye be forbidden from doing unto another, for violence and hatred give rise to the same." End quote. The Book of Ways. Ultimately, the lower vibrations of meat eating are certainly the opposite of universal love and compassion. And, as mentioned above, if we remain a part of this predatory cycle, then we keep the predatory cycle continuing. This affects millions of people all around the globe, as you will learn further on in this book. The natural world also senses the energy that we give out, and whether this energy is predatory or loving. Consider the message that the trees conveyed to interspecies animal telepath Billy Dean. Quote, "Tree spirits are incredible, and I'm honored they are some of my greatest friends and wisest teachers. In our spiritual tradition, we always ask, 'What can I do for you?' because it's important to keep a relationship in balance. Being vegan is a given here, so I've never talked about it with them, but when I asked, they said they could tell if a human still ate animal flesh, and it put them on alert. It was subtle, but they said humans eating meat put the whole world on alert. A tension, a shiver of fear, because it made humans a dangerous predator. Those who ate the fruit from the tree relaxed them, so long as they understood to share with everyone else who lived here on this planet, Earth." End quote. Thank you to the trees for this precious insight, and thank you to Billy Dean for sharing this information on their behalf. The trees on the Billy Dean Deep Peace Trust Sanctuary are blessed to be surrounded by harmonious and respectful people such as Billy and her family. Billy Dean's book, Secret Animal Business, is very insightful to read. She also teaches through the Billy Dean School of Wild Shamanism, where students learn to understand the ancient universal language of silence and how to connect deeply and sacredly with animals and nature through ancient wisdom. Other people, including animal communicators around the world, have shared their stories about discovering vegetarianism and veganism. They seem to make this discovery through a love connection, that allows a calling from their higher selves. This calling veers them away from the predatory animal diet and towards increased love and compassion. In an online article, an animal communicator shared that it was her beloved dog that led her to be a vegetarian. Her dog was running in a field when she smelled the scent of hamburgers cooking close to where they were. As she watched her dog, she was reminded that her dog was also meat, and so this motivated her to stop eating meat altogether. I had a similar conversation with someone who adopted the vegetarian, now vegan diet after feeling love for his dog. He realized that eating meat was the same as eating his dog. I remember watching a video of someone who had adopted a little piglet. They were cooking bacon and some fell on the floor, and they rushed to stop the piglet from eating the bacon. Suddenly, they made the realization. Bacon was the word for pig, the same as the little piglet who was now a member of their family and who they cherished. They also adopted the compassionate vegan diet. What a profound impact this piglet has had on her human family's lives. This raises the concept of speciesism. Speciesism is prejudice or discrimination based on species, especially discrimination against animals, and the assumption of human superiority on which speciesism is based. Speciesism is what makes people feel that it is okay to eat a pig or a cow, but not okay to eat a dog or a cat. We can see that what separates this is love. Those of us who are raised in societies and families where dogs and cats are loved and cherished would never dream of eating them. Yet, for many people, animals that they are not raised to value and cherish are considered to be food. It's not a very enlightened or fair system. It seems that more and more people are now having similar experiences of their own, where they are awakening to their loving, compassionate nature and the awareness that we are all connected. Jane Broccolo is a long-time animal communicator who has written a great article about her journey to the vegan diet. Jane has kindly offered to share her wonderful online article in this book. She writes, quote, "How I became a happy vegan black sheep. Decades ago, before I stopped eating sweet, innocent herbivores, also known as meat, little lambs, baby boy calves, teenage cows, chicken tots, and piglets and their mums and dads, I had chronic fatigue symptoms, severe thyroid and pancreatic issues, a taxed liver, and chronic bouts of anxiety and depression. When compassion empowered me to switch to a meatless diet, my physical health morphed in less than a year into near excellent health, which I still enjoyed decades later. I realized back then that my new meatless diet was not the sole cause of my new vitality. It was my reawakened awareness that my new diet inspired, of our deep connection with all animals, with all living beings. The awareness we all had as wee children, open and receptive to the wonder and joy of life. I was moved once again to interact, commune more deeply, more specifically with nature, be it a mouse or a tree or a patch of clover or you. To this day, connecting with all life, as I did during my childhood spent mostly in nature, surrounded by animals tame and wild, is as full of wonder and compassion, if not more so. It's as though my sensory perception senses were recharged, as well as my awe and love of all life. Through my growing awareness of the suffering of animals in human hands spurred me onto vegetarianism way back then. I still, until I switched to a vegan diet, suffered from getting stuck in anxiety and depression. Not anymore. When I cut out dairy, my health made a beeline from near excellent to excellent in a few weeks. Aside from the tranquilizers, pus, and other bad stuff in dairy, there's pain, the horror the bovine mother experienced when her calf was torn from her side, the loneliness she had to endure tethered to milk machines, stripping her udders raw and causing painful pus-filled infections. No wonder I was depressed for years. I was taking in the pain of enslaved, battered cows. My psyche knew what I was doing. My conscious mind did not. If you are still a meat and/or dairy consumer, please be aware of the reality that is a scientific fact. We are all connected. We are all one. The harm you cause to one being, you cause to your own. The river of sorrow flooded with our conscious or unconscious complicity in the suffering of our animal relatives, of all our relatives, planet included, runs through our veins, physically and metaphorically speaking. The horror in meat and dairy alone, coursing through our brains, our hearts, every cell in our being, is enough to make anyone sick. A well-balanced vegan diet and lifestyle does not make you sick. It makes you clear. It makes you healthy. It makes you whole. For years now, since deepening my commitment to actively advocating the rights of animals, aside from taking my talents out of the closet and putting them into a refreshing career of communicating with them more deeply, I've also been having tons of new energy. More energy than healthy people half my age, I am told by those half my age. Several times a week I hike mountains and practice hardcore power yoga. I am a bit of a curmudgeon when it comes to the rights of animals to live in nature as intended. Every day I follow my bliss with the determination that all beings, including the planet, will get to follow theirs. Did you know that the meat and dairy industries are the #1 cause of climate change? Well, now you do. A quick, easy search online will tell you this is true. Please don't just eat vegan, be vegan. Be a happy, healthy, and wise little black sheep, and the other sheep will follow." End quote. Jane is an animal, nature, and spirit communicator, polarity wellness educator, animal rights activist, freelance writer on the human-animal connection, author of the book Like an Animal When Being Human Is Not Enough, and founder of Talks with Pets and Animal Self-Empowerment. Thank you, Jane, for sharing your experiences and uplifting outlook with the world. Many people report having a whole new outlook on life when they adopt a vegan lifestyle. And as your article mentions, many describe a heightened awareness of the connection we have to all of life, including our precious earth. Jane's article also highlights a profound benefit that animal communicators in particular may encounter. This compassionate lifestyle may help with animal communication. I remember that an animal communicator shared her story with me of why she stopped eating meat. Her spirit guides told her that it would increase her capabilities, and hence she adopted the vegetarian diet. I'm sure that the animals and people that she's helped over the years have been very grateful for the insights that she has shared through the animal communication sessions. With this in mind, it leads to an interesting factor to contemplate. Is telepathy just one part of the spiritual picture? Animal communication via telepathy may be naturally part of us, but for many of us, we need to polish it to make it sparkle. We explain this to animal communication students and to animal communication clients. We see animal communication students become confident animal communicators. Hence, animal communication is a skill that we can learn and develop. Our ability to communicate with animals isn't a direct reflection of our spiritual level. Being telepathic doesn't mean that our spiritual level is any higher than any other person or animal's spiritual level. Being telepathic can even give the ego fire more kindling with which to burn. As human beings, we are programmed from birth to fit into expectations of society. Our society isn't as spiritually evolved as other societies in the universe. We go through socialization as children. If we watch mainstream media, we are programmed by TV shows and advertisements that encourage us to follow the herd mentality and to switch off our higher, compassionate and loving nature. It takes self-work to walk in humility. We develop this so that we can best serve the animals by receiving and conveying their messages with purity of heart, mind and spirit. This journey may well be to become less of a predator on every level, right down to the most subtle of thoughts and actions, and to develop compassion, love, and wisdom. Perhaps we can get a sense of our spiritual level in various ways, such as through the pure, unconditional, expansive love that we cultivate. Other measures might be our wisdom and kindness, and our ability to be of service. Telepathy without these things is a scary thought indeed. As the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. I feel that by having this honor of being able to communicate with animals, there is also the need to develop these other qualities, and the animals exemplify this for us perfectly. By developing greater empathy, compassion, respect, love, and peace, I truly believe that our spiritual level and our spiritual nature blossom even more. And these things are affected by what we eat and what we drink. A compassionate vegan lifestyle nourishes a higher spiritual level. A diet that contains meat detracts from a higher spiritual state in various ways. A note on spiritual and energetic protection. I once connected with an amazing dog who shared some wonderful messages with me. Although he had a big personality and puppyish ways, he was a committed protector. He told me that he came here to protect his person. He said, quote, "I love her. We have a soul connection. She wanted me to come here, so I did." End quote. I let his person know this could have been on a conscious or subconscious level that she desired to have him with her. He then sent me an image of what appeared to be a Roman warrior with a golden chest plate and sword in the air as if it was about to strike. He explained, quote, "I am her protector, energetically and physically." End quote. What he said further in the communication was very eye-opening. He communicated the following message to his person, quote, "Animals suffer a lot when you eat them." Here he sent me some intense feelings of dread, fear, misery, bleakness, and a very knotted stomach. He said, "That's not fair for anyone. This needs to change and you need to change it. Don't dismiss this. It's powerful and it will help me to protect you." End quote. After sharing this message with me, I then received an immense feeling of relief, as though his whole body had relaxed, and I received an image of his tail wagging. This is how important this message was for him. No other message that he shared with me came with this great feeling of relief. He was asking his person to stop eating animals so that his job of protecting her would be easier for him to do. And it was an important message for him to share with her. This raises the question of how might a plant-based diet provide some sort of energetic or spiritual protection. The wise cat that I mentioned earlier already showed me about attracting the light into us by being loving and kind. But let's explore this further. On one hand, being plant-based provides specific benefits to our spiritual practice. Sant Rajinder Singh Ji has written, quote, "One of the spiritual reasons to be vegetarian is to boost one's meditation. In meditation, if we wish to experience ourselves as soul, a vegetarian diet speeds our progress. To enter realms of light and love, we need to develop ethical virtues. We need to have the purity of heart by which we can experience the Creator. By following this diet, we develop nonviolence, love, and service to other forms of life. Spirituality is not only concerned with our own inner development, but it is a way of living wherein we have love and concern for all life in creation. Spirituality involves bringing us closer to our true nature, our true self, which is one with God. Once we realize the divinity that enlivens all forms on our planet, we will spread peace and love wherever we go." End quote. This is written so beautifully. Many spiritual teachers and philosophers have stated that vegan diets are particularly good for meditation and for developing a more serene nature. Albert Einstein, physicist and vegetarian, had some interesting insights to share surrounding this. He wrote, quote, "A human being is part of a whole, called by us the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest us. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circles of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty." End quote. Again, this is so beautifully written. It's not surprising that people have compared the vegan diet to being unplugged from the matrix. People have said that the vegan diet is like taking the pill that disconnects us from the false reality, or, as Albert Einstein says, our prison. When we have a more expanded consciousness, we can make decisions that bring more benefits for the greater good of all, including humans, animals, and our planet. We develop more wisdom, and our actions mirror this. We can put kindness into the world, which attracts kindness back to us. Supreme Master Ching Hai has said, quote, "Angels are real, gods and goddesses are real. The purer you are, the more angels' protection. God does listen. The angels do listen, but we push them away with our heavy energy, and we cannot hear well because of our heavy energy, killing energy. Even if we don't kill but we eat, it's indirect killing. And before the animals die, they suffer, they lament. So when we take in this energy, we build walls around us. We chain ourselves. Like attracts like. We should be angel-like in order to have the cooperation of the angels." End quote. From How to Get the Most Blessings lecture by Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan at the Climate Change Village, 2010 at Cancun, Mexico. I find it interesting that Albert Einstein mentioned a prison and that Supreme Master Ching Hai mentions that eating animal products builds a wall around us. In both cases, we are closing ourselves off from achieving greater enlightenment and receiving more divine love and assistance. The Essene Gospel of Peace brings similar angelic images to mind when it states, quote, "Love one another, for God is love, and so shall his angels know that you walk in his paths. And then shall all the angels come before your face and serve you." End quote. As animals are fellow souls and spiritual beings, love one another is inclusive of them. The Essene Gospel of Peace also mentions many times that one should avoid eating meat, which attracts negativity to us. Eating meat is contrary to love, and it is emphasized that love brings protection and spiritual upliftment. Quote, "Love, therefore, your heavenly Father and your earthly mother with all your heart and with all your spirit, and serve them that their angels may serve you also." End quote. When we develop our loving quality, we feel the desire to be of loving service. As this happens, our motives and intentions become more pure. We lift our vibration and become peaceful, compassionate, loving beings. And this attracts higher assistance to us, heavenly assistance, divine assistance, higher frequencies, higher vibrations, whatever you wish to call it. We can truly transform our planet. By adopting a vegan diet and by being more compassionate, loving, and wise, we attract positive energy and cosmic assistance to us. All of this creates more protection around us.